So I hope everyone can see that clearly. Oops, sorry. There we go. So hello, everyone. Really happy to be here. I see that we've got over 100 people logged in already. It's pretty exciting, big group. Before I start, I just really want to thank Christy, Steve, Andre, and Marcus for inviting me here to kick things off. Their efforts and persistence over the last 8 years in bringing together the Tephra community in pursuit of standardizing data collection and reporting and making that data open and available really deserves a big shout out. We all know, most of us participating here are very familiar with Tephra. That's widely used across different disciplines. We all produce an enormous range of basic data that, if reported widely in an open source format, would greatly assist in moving all of our research forward. I think it's fair to say that traditionally there hasn't necessarily been a culture of open data and standardization in our community. That's been changing, something that has been long recognized as a challenge. But this specific group decided to actually do something about it, and starting with this first meeting in 2014 in Portland, which I attended as I was just finishing my postdoc at Queen's University Belfast, being initiated into the culture of CryptoTephra. There's a lot of challenges in trying to obtain these goals. What are the minimum needs for reporting data? What are acceptable standard procedures for data collection and analysis? How do we make it as easy as possible to report those data? And how do we foster a climate of, basic open source data reporting, make it applicable internationally to all users, and as easy to adopt as possible? And this workshop really represents a culmination of these efforts. And it's an update for this really incredible group of people to update everyone on the progress that's been made, the numerous tools that have been developed and now are available for researchers to help report and archive valuable data sets. And Christy, who's following me, is going to talk about this in a lot more detail. But I just really wanted to give a little short introduction on that, and a shout out to this crew has been working tirelessly for 8 years on this. But I'm here specifically representing the Commission on Tephrochronology. And some of you might not be familiar with our group. And so they invited me to come here and introduce you all and the work that we have done and are continuing to do. So before I talk about who the Commission is, I just really want to point out the people that are involved in it, because I am definitely not a lone force here. There's a whole group of people that are part of the Commission currently: Peter Abbott, Paul Albert, Takahiko Suzuki, who was formerly president. We have Jenny, who's here helping us out today. And then Simon Blockley, who's going to be organizing our next meeting. And then, of course, David Lowe, who doesn't actually have an official title at the moment within our group, but I just call him our unofficial sage and general keeper of knowledge, as he has been involved with many iterations of CoT for a very long time. And frankly, I don't think we could really do our job without him. So I just really need to point that out. So what is the Commission on Tephrochronology? We've been around in one form or another for over 60 years, and was started by Kunio Kobayashi in, David can probably, it was 1961. And the easiest way we've been able to come up with describing us is really an international collective of people who are interested in Tephra, and we add CryptoTephra studies in there now, and their application, which is a really broad group of people, across quaternary studies into volcanology. Some of you are probably more familiar with our previous iteration as INTAV, the International Union for Quaternary Research. International Association for Volcanology, my God, I'm sorry, INTAV, which was under INQUA, which is the International Union of Quaternary Research. But we've recently moved over to the International Association of Volcanology and Chemistry of the Earth's Interior as the Commission on Tephrochronology. mostly due to a reorganization in INQUA, which didn't really allow us to continue to exist. And the fact that the Tephra community has been integrating a lot more with volcanology going forward. And there's IAVCEI is actually a very good fit for us. We organize semi-regularly, ideally every 4 to 5 years, and this has been going on for about 60 years, a conference. These conferences have strong field components. Most recently, we had one in Romania, so that this image here is from that meeting. And it resulted in a 2-volume special issue in the Journal of Quaternary Science. And this has actually been a part of a tradition of the Commission in Tephrochronology and its various iterations over the years, that they facilitate these types of broad-reaching publications. This special issue is actually just one of 7 that have been published over the years. There are actually 2 books and a report. And again, I just want to point out that it's a little bit delayed thanks to COVID and trying to work around our sister organizations, INQUA and IAVCEI, but we have scheduled our next workshop will be in September 2024 in Sicily. So keep your ears open and eyes open for more information on that. The other thing is we also organize and or sponsor sessions at other larger meetings. Most recently, with 2 other commissions in IAVCEI, we sponsored the Molyneux session at the American Geophysical Union in honor of Don Molyneux, who passed away last year. Very well-known researcher in the US, just fundamental to understanding specifically the history of Mount St. Helens, and other Tephra-related workshops. If we don't organize them, we really try our best to help facilitate and promote them. And this workshop and our connection with this group has been ongoing since 2014. And we're very happy to have been able to help out at the various different meetings that occurred since 2014 to the last one in Dublin in 2019. There are going to be 2 Tephra sessions at the upcoming meeting in New Zealand, IAVCEI, in 2023. But outside of meetings, we've also are actively involved in developing new analytical techniques, in facilitating interlab comparisons, and we actively promote people to get in touch with us or encourage people to promote events and advertise positions, PhD, studentships, really anything related to Tephra. We just really want to keep the community together, keep it going, and help people out as much as possible in communicating with each other. So facilitators, as much as we can help. We, as I mentioned, we've been under the auspices of INQUA for most of our history, and we recently moved over to IAVCEI, which means there's a lot of changes going on with us at the moment. We are having to build a new membership list, and we now have a membership form that's available. That link, you can click on it and you can add yourself, add as much, or there's some required fields, but you can really put some more detail in there about what your interests are, which can, help us organize people and put people who are interested in similar things together. But I just want to point out that you do not have to be an IAVCEI member to join CoT. We have a really wide active group already that's across disciplines, especially, within the quaternary community. But we do strongly encourage you to look at IAVCEI, the benefits of being a member, which are actually great. They're very active. There are so many interesting commissions. A lot of these commissions run webinars and different conferences and talks that are incredibly interesting to a wide variety of people. And there's definitely a bit of self-interest there, because every member that joins CoT, who is also a member of IAVCEI, feeds directly into our ability to get funding for our own meetings. So we just encourage anyone who wants to be part of CoT, who's not already part, to sign up. But You do not have to be an IAVCEI member, but if you do have interests that overlap with IAVCEI, I strongly encourage for you to look at joining them. We're also available on Facebook. We're in the process of building a website. We're just waiting for IAVCEI to release their new template for that. But please check out the Facebook page, and we're also on Twitter. We've got a lot of, as our website comes up, hopefully in the next month or two, I'm not entirely sure, we are going to be more active. We're going to be reaching out to our membership as people sign up as members. We need a new logo. So we're going to be running a contest, an open source logo for CoT. And we have a vacancy on our executive that we will be soliciting people for coming up sooner than later. And finally, just to throw out there for everyone, INQA is coming up in Rome in 2023, and session proposals are opening up for that soon. So feel free to contact us if anyone has any ideas about that. We'll be talking about it soon. Finally, I just want to point out this effort by David, really, our unofficial sage, really pushed this and worked very, very hard over the last couple of months, gathering and pulling together all the information out there on the Commission of Tephrochronology. And it's now available, it's in review in the History of Geo and Space Sciences, which is a Copernicus journal. So the preprint is available. If you want to know more about CoT's history, I really encourage you to check it out. It's a really interesting document, and it really shows how actually relevant to this group that this idea of data standardization and open reporting has actually been talked about for a really long time. And there were pushes further back to try to encourage this, even though I can easily say that I don't think we've ever been as close to making this a reality as we are now, thanks to this group. So I'm going to leave it at that. If anyone has questions about the commission, please let me know, and I'm just going to stop